I went to Universal Studios, and they have the hat that they actually wore in the movie, and you sit on a thing, and it does it. But with mine, it does a whole bunch of different ones. It did the one where it like, this one's really complicated. Gryffindor, and I was like, yeah! Took the hat off, I threw it on the ground, I stomped on it.
Wow, that doesn't seem very Gryffindor of you.
No, I lit it on fire, and I ran out the door, Gryffindor. Then I got expelled.
Mine's okay. Here we go. It's a fun story.
Okay.
I slept on a highway in the middle of nowhere once. On the road. If a car would have came, I would have probably died. Slept on a highway. What? Here we go. So my friends and I, when we were in high school and when we were in college, we'd come back for the summer and we used to go to Canada. That's where we could go and be debaucherous before we were 21. So this was like our second or third trip trying to get there. It was me and my buddy Andrew, John, and Greg, and Dustin. And what we would do is we would drive through Glacier National Park and then get up to the Canadian border and go in. So we're all going, we're having a good time. We get up to the Canadian border. It's about 9 p.m. And they go, how much money do you have? We're like, well, I don't know, to go this much in our bank accounts. So they're like, no, we're not going to let you in unless you have cold hard cash on you. We're like, crap. So the border closes at 10. So we have to go back into Glacier National Park, and it's about a 30-minute drive to the nearest ATM. So we're doing that. We're like, we're never going to make it. We're never going to make it. We get to the ATM, get our money, drive all the way back up to the border, closed. They wouldn't let us in. So we're stuck in this weird like purgatory. We just got kicked out of Canada, and now we got to go back to Glacier National Park, which is on an Indian reservation. So we go back, and we're like, well, what do we do? Well, let's go into this bar. We're 19. It's so out in the middle of nowhere they just let us in. It's the type of bar where there was a dog dancing on the dance floor. And nobody questioned it. We go in, we get wasted, right? And we go back to St. Mary's, Montana, which is the closest town and the only place to stay. And we get kicked out of the town because we're too loud and rambunctious. So we have nowhere to go. We literally can't go to Canada, and we're kicked out of Montana, the closest thing to Canada. Then we hear there's some girls up in a cabin. They come from around the world and they work the park. So we're like, let's go talk to the girls in the cabins. It's 12 o'clock. We're walking up the road to this cabin on a hill, and a car comes up, and it's a man. He's like 50 years old, and he rolls down the window. I get in the window. I'm like, where? Can you tell us where the girls are? Can you lead us to the girls? And it turns out that guy's the chaperone of this whole place, and he gets pissed, and he's like, I'm calling the tribal police. The tribal police do not deal well with white boys. So 4 of us are just blitzed, and then we all scatter, and our one sober friend that had never drank in his life that has the car, and he's like, what's happening? Me and my friend, we run down an incline that's like 75 degrees. It's wood, and we hide on this slope, like trying not to fall for the next hour. And we can see down on the road the highway, and our friend with the car every 20 minutes would be just looking for us.
Holy shit! Wait, and so no
tribal
cell
police,
phones.
no cell phones or nothing. Our Indian friend Dustin, he's running around trying to find a place to hide. So he runs up to the decorative teepee to lay down and sleep/hide. There's people in it. He lays down next to the people, realizes he's laying down next to people. So he got up and ran out of there. Meanwhile, our other friend Greg is hiding in a creek bed under a log.
What the fuck? This is like Stand By Me.
Yeah. So we finally all meet our friend on the highway. We finally all get in the car. We're like, what are we gonna do? We got nowhere to stay. We can't go to Canada. We're kicked out of Montana. The tribal police are looking for us. So we drive on, and we take a right onto this road that goes out to, the sign said Duck Lake, 30 miles or something. So we start driving out, and then we realize we're all tired and we have nowhere to stay. So about halfway to Duck Lake, we just pull over on the side of the road. In my drunken stupor, there's 5 of us in this small station wagon. I'm like, I can't sleep in here. I open the door, and I get out, and I walk into the field. And I go back to the car, and they're all in the car, and they're like, there's no room. So I go, fine. And I went behind the car, and I laid down on the highway, and I fell asleep. And I woke up alive. Don't drink.
I'm Trisha Hershberger. I'm a Nitten.
I'm Bereta.
Yeah. Ballerina Joe is what we call him.
Guess what my first dancing role was? I'll tell you what the production was. It was Little Mermaid.
Oh, were you Eric?
Were you Prince Eric?
No.
Triton?
No.
Were you Flounder?
No.
Sebastian?
No. I was the preacher that married them at the very end.
Oh, the brother!